Let's take a look now at working with different chart configurations. Let's start with a simple search of sales by product type. We see that ThoughtSpot first displays a best fit visualization. However, you can always change the chart type. Over in the Change Visualization icon in the top right, here we'll see a full list of all the visualizations available in ThoughtSpot. If the visualization that you want is grayed out, you can hover your cursor over it and a tooltip will appear telling you what you need in your search in order to use that chart type. If we want to change to a different chart type, we can select it from this view. Here, I'll change my chart from a column to a pie chart. I see the visualization has updated. To make further chart configuration changes, go to the Edit Chart Configuration icon, which is the gear icon located on the right. If you click on it, you'll see additional chart configuration options, which vary based on the chart type that you have selected. For my pie chart, I can click on the Total Sales button on the right, and here I can do things like add data labels or change the formatting for those data labels. Use the back arrow to go back to the Edit Chart Configuration view. If I click on my attribute, product type, here I can change the colors associated with my pie chart. I'll click back again. Now let's add an additional column to my search. Let's say I wanted to see this data also broken down by store region. I'll add region to my search, and I notice that my visualization did not change. On the right, I can easily see which columns are being visualized or not visualized. In order to include region in my chart, I can drag and drop it up into the category section. Now I see each slice of the pie represents both the product type and the region. In this case, a different chart type might be better to display all of this information. I can change my visualization again in the Change Visualization icon and change this to the stacked column. Again, remember you can go to Edit Chart Configuration to ensure that your chart is set up correctly. For this stacked column chart, I want each bar to be sliced by region. So I will drag and drop my region column down to the Slice with Color area. Now, I can see that each bar represents the product types, and a legend has appeared with my regions. The legend is interactive, meaning if we wanted to see the same visualization without one or more of these regions, you can hover your cursor over it and click on one of the legend items to remove it. Since I clicked on West, West is no longer visualized and it appears in a gray color in the legend. I can also remove a second region by clicking on it. This makes it easy to interact with your visualization. Remember that to change your colors, you can always go to the Edit Chart Configuration view, select the column that you want to change the colors for, and pick a different color from the color picker. Now let's say we had a search in which we were taking a look at two measures and one attributes. Perhaps we wanted to see both our sales and quantity by product type. Here, we see a column chart is displayed for us. I have two y-axes, one on the left for total sales and one on the right for total quantity purchased, and my product types are along the x-axis. I will collapse my left data panel so that I have more view on the screen. If you want to group your axes together, you can hover your cursor over the y-axis that appears on the right and click on the little triangle. Here, you'll see an option to change the position of this axis. It's currently on the right, but let's change it to the left. And now I see both my y-axes are on the same side of the chart. Now, if you want to merge them together, just hover your cursor over one of the y-axis labels, click on it, and then you can choose what other column to group it with. I'd like to group it with the sales column, and now I see that the axes are merged. Again, you can go to your Edit Chart Configuration to make more adjustments. Here you'll see both a tab for Configure as well as Settings. If you go to the Settings tab, you can see some options like adding all data labels or even selecting an area to zoom in on. Reset your zoom to go to the original. Now let's say you wanted to see how a measure is doing over time. If I search sales and date, here I see my total sales over time. Here I see my sales monthly. If I want to change the time bucket for this chart, I can click on date, which is in my x-axis, and go to time bucket and change this to quarterly or even yearly. If I want this information to be displayed at the lowest level granularity that I have in my date, I'll use the detailed keyword. When I hover over to table view, I see, if I sort my dates, that my sales are being reported daily, which indicates that in my data, the lowest level of granularity in my dates is daily. I can hover back to my chart view, and since this is a line chart, if I go to my settings from chart configuration, I have the option to add a regression line or even data markers. The last chart type we'll review are pivot tables. Pivot tables are popular ways of displaying large amounts of information. So if I wanted to see my sales data by region as well as by product and product type, while I can see that information displayed as a table, it's a lot of information to synthesize. So let me change it to a pivot table. To change the visualization type, I'll go to Change Visualization, scroll down to find the pivot table, and select it as the chart type. Now I see in the middle of the screen, my pivot table has appeared. Over on the left, I can uncollapse these rows by clicking on the product type. And then I'll see a list of individual products within the product type. I can choose to keep it uncollapsed or collapse it again. It's easy to rearrange a pivot table by dragging and dropping columns where you'd like them to appear. Keep in mind, you can even click on the three dots that appear in the column name of a pivot table or any chart and use the rename option if you'd like to give the column a different name within the chart. You also have the option to filter and sort. I'll return this column where it was before so that we can see the other chart configuration options available to us. Click the Edit Chart Configuration icon, and over in the Settings tab, we'll see some more options. Here you can select if you want any calculation for the values in the pivot table. By default, we're seeing a sum of our sales. However, we can change this if we want each value to represent a percentage of the grand total or a percentage of either the row or the column. If you have a search that has many data values, such as sales by both product and region, you'll see a scroll bar appear at the bottom of your chart indicating that you can scroll horizontally to view all the bars. Now, if you wanted to fit the chart for your screen, you can go to the Edit Chart Configuration icon and in Settings, indicate that you would like to fit the chart to the screen. In this case, fitting it to the screen does not display all the bars in a way that's easy to interpret. So I will remove this checkbox to bring the scroll bar back. The maximum number of data points that can be charted in this environment is 20,000. However, you can increase this limit to 30,000 using the ThoughtSpot command line interface. ThoughtSpot makes it easy to display your information in a number of different visualization types.